The sun dipped low over the city, casting long shadows on the tall glass buildings. Inside one of them, at a sleek reception desk, Emily sat with a crisp white shirt and a focused expression. Her job was to filter the people who walked through the doors of Arc Holdings, a bustling corporation known for its impressive projects and even more impressive reputation. On this particular day, the buzz was palpable in the air. People rushed in and out, their phones chiming with messages, a world of business moves unfolding before her eyes. And then he arrived, Sam. He stood out in the crowd not because of his plain black suit, but because of his determined yet anxious expression. Sam took a deep breath before approaching the desk. He was a junior architect looking to pitch his innovative ideas for a new project. For weeks now, he had prepared this moment, envisioning the meeting that could change everything for him. He could already picture the surprised faces of the executives when he unveiled his plans, a modern design that blended sustainability with sleek aesthetics. But all that hope could collapse in an instant. "Good afternoon," Sam said, trying to keep the tremor out of his voice. "I have a meeting with Ms." Emily looked him over quickly, her eyes narrowing slightly. She tapped away at her keyboard, checking the schedule. It was one of those moments when her polite smile masked an unyielding resolve. "I'm sorry, but I don't see your name on the list," she replied, her tone cool and businesslike. Sam's heart sank. He had double-checked, triple-checked, even confirmed his appointment via email. "No," he insisted, his voice a little shaky. "I'm sure it's today." Emily remained firm. Sam stepped back, scanning the lobby. Corporate life was unforgiving. People walked by, heads down, lost in their own worlds. All he needed was a chance, just one moment to showcase his work. But Emily stood like a wall. She didn't flinch. After another attempt to persuade her, Sam realized he was fighting a losing battle. With his heart pounding in his chest, he turned to leave, feeling the weight of disappointment sink in. This was his big moment slipping away. As he approached the elevator, everything felt surreal. He told himself he would come back another day, try again. But deep down, he feared the doubt creeping in. Was he good enough? Did his ideas really matter? Just as he reached the elevator door, a voice rang out behind him. It was Ms. Patterson herself, the head of the architecture department. She had a reputation for being tough but fair, a mentor who changed lives. Yet at that moment, the weight of the company was on her shoulders, a busy day echoing in her voice. "Are you Sam?" He turned, astonished. Come in," she gestured, her demeanor shifting from busy executive to welcoming mentor. Relief washed over Sam, sparking a flicker of hope, but then he remembered Emily's rejection. Ms. Patterson replied, her friendly smile widening, overzealous. As they walked towards the conference room, Sam's mind raced. Could it be that easy? Maybe this meeting would go just fine after all. Maybe Emily had been wrong. They entered a large room filled with glass walls and a long table that radiated professionalism. The light from the setting sun poured in, turning everything golden. A couple of high-ranking executives sat waiting, glancing up with mild curiosity as Sam took a seat. Ms. Patterson introduced, her voice full of warmth. The executives nodded, and just like that, Sam felt the moment shift. The tension he had been carrying like a backpack began to light. He opened his proposal with shaking hands. As he began explaining his design, the room transformed. He spoke about inspiration, how nature could influence the concrete jungle, how buildings could breathe, be flexible, echo the beauty of the earth. He felt the energy change. Eyes widened, hands began to scribble notes. That's when something unexpected happened. Just outside the glass walls, Sam caught a glimpse of Emily peering in. There was something in her expression, curiosity mixed with regret. For the first time, he felt the impact of validation wash over him. He returned to his presentation, pouring everything he had into his words. Ms. Patterson nodded encouragingly. The executives leaned forward, captivated. Every moment, every design blip on the screen illuminated their faces. When he finished, the room erupted into discussion. Questions flew. How could it be done? What materials would work best? Sam found himself at the center of their enthusiasm, words flowing without hesitation. The anxiety had faded, replaced by the thrill of being heard. Finally, Ms. Patterson glanced at him with a proud smile. "You have something really special here, Sam." At that moment, all the struggle, the rejection, and the doubt began to dissipate like the day's light. It was intoxicating. He felt seen. As the meeting concluded, several of the executives exchanged notes on future collaborations, the energy buzzing around him. Sam packed up his materials, heart racing, feeling like he was walking on air. When he stepped out into the hallway, Emily was still standing at her desk, catching his eye. This time her expression had changed. That hard shell was gone, replaced by genuine curiosity. "Hey there," she said, a little hesitant. He could have let the moment slip by. He could have responded with something dismissive, but instead he found the strength to smile. "Actually, it went really well." Emily's eyes widened, surprise unfolding. "I'm sorry I didn't let you in earlier." It's okay," he interrupted gently. "I know it was just your job." For a brief moment, they shared a connection. It was a slice of understanding about the pressures of work, the mask everyone wore in corporate life. "I'm glad it went well," Emily said, and this time her smile felt warmer, less guarded. As they stood there, a new tension began to form. The the kind that swirls in the air when someone realizes they are all part of something bigger than themselves. "Thank you for giving me a chance," Sam added, his words punctuated with newfound confidence. She nodded, and just like that, the door to empathy opened wider. In that corporate jungle, amidst the high stakes and chilly receptions, this quiet exchange of acknowledgement felt like a breath of fresh air. "I hope you come back," she said softly. With his head held a little higher, Sam nodded. "I will." As he moved toward the exit, the sun finally set, painting the sky in deep hues of orange and purple. He felt a shift deep within him. Today had been tough, it had tested his limits, but he had faced that moment, turned it around, and walked away with more than he had come in with. As he left the building, he realized that sometimes the place meant to keep you out could also surprise you. All it took was one moment, a warm greeting, to change everything. And in that unexpected warmth, Sam felt the doors of possibility swing wide open. The tall glass doors of Helix Corp loomed like a fortress, reflecting the looming clouds. Inside, a whirl of activity filled the air, business suits darting from one meeting to the next, phones ringing like a symphony of urgency. Among the bustling crowd stood a young man named Ethan, anxiety swimming in his chest. Today was crucial. It was his chance to pitch a project that he had spent years dreaming about. He inhaled, steadying himself, and stepped towards the reception desk. There a stern woman named Clara sat, her fingers flying across the keyboard. With a sharp gaze and no-nonsense demeanor, she seemed like the gatekeeper to a treasured chest. Ethan's hope flickered, but determination kept him pushing forward. "Good afternoon," he said, his voice firm yet laced with nerves. "I'm Ethan Miller. I have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Clara barely glanced up from her screen. "I don't see your name here," she replied flatly, her tone leaving no room for negotiation. Ethan's stomach dropped. "Yes, I'm positive." Her eyes narrowed as if he were a trespasser trying to invade her territory. "Unless you're on the list, I can't let you in," she replied, a finality in her tone that felt like a closing door slamming shut. Despair washed over him. All the preparation, sleepless nights, countless revisions now felt meaningless. "Please," he pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. "I really need to meet with him." "Without an appointment, I can't assist you," Clara replied, signaling her complete dismissal. Ethan backed away, defeated, feeling the weight of rejection crush his spirit. He glanced around the lobby, seeing the busy professionals gliding by, their conversations flicking like the staccato of a drum. All he needed was a chance, just a moment to share his vision. The heaviness in his chest grew as he turned toward the elevator, his dreams slipping through the cracks. But then, just as he reached the elevator doors, a deep voice called out from across the lobby. "Ethan." It was Mr. Thompson, the chairman himself, striding confidently toward him, an aura of warmth surrounding him. With each step, Ethan's heart raced. Recognition sparked in his eyes, a flicker of hope igniting in a dim room. "I was just reading your proposal, Mr." Clara froze, her expression shifting from indifference to surprise. The chairman of the company had recognized this young man. The atmosphere in the lobby shifted as he approached, like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Ethan could hardly believe what was happening. Just moments ago, he felt like a ghost passing through the halls of corporate power. Yet now, here he was, standing at the center of attention, the gravity of his hopes finally visible. Mr. Thompson gestured, his invitation brimming with enthusiasm. "We need to discuss your project." Clara's eyes widened, realizing the significance of her earlier dismissal. She opened her mouth to say something, but words wouldn't come. The moment hung in the air. She was the gatekeeper who hadn't let him in, but now she was just a spectator in a scene that was shifting rapidly. As Ethan stepped past Clara, a surge of adrenaline rushed through him. He followed Mr. Thompson into the boardroom, a space filled with polished oak and towering windows that overlooked the city skyline. The sunlight streamed in, illuminating charts and presentations scattered across the expansive table. Seated at the table were several other executives, each with intrigued expressions. "Ethan, share your ideas with us," Mr. Thompson said, gesturing for him to take the floor. Ethan breathed deeply, channeling the whirlwind of emotions inside him: anxiety, hope, excitement. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He stepped forward, clutching his presentation materials tightly, and began to speak. He spoke of innovation and sustainability, weaving his vision into the fabric of the company's future. "Imagine a design that not only stands tall but also helps the environment," he said, his voice growing steadier with each word. The executives lined in, captivated by his passion. They exchanged glances, murmurs of approval rippling through the room. Mr. Thompson beamed with pride, nodding as Ethan illustrated his ideas with passion and clarity, his fears fading away like morning fog under the sun. With each slide, Ethan felt the atmosphere shift. The bright lights of the room reflected in their eyes, igniting a spark of enthusiasm. They started to ask questions, engaged and curious. One executive inquired, his brow furrowed in thought. "Absolutely," Ethan responded, his confidence blooming like a flower in spring. "They can be customized to fit urban landscapes as well as rural areas." Ethan had never felt so empowered, so alive. Each inquiry from the executives was a thread pulling him deeper into the narrative he had crafted. Their interest felt like validation, a ripple of connection spreading through the room. Your thoughts on community spaces are particularly compelling, another executive remarked. Ethan leaned into the conversation, energized by their engagement. He painted the picture of vibrant shared spaces where art flourished and stories unfolded. As he spoke, he became more than just a young architect. He became a voice for the future. After what felt like both an eternity and an instant, Ethan wrapped up his presentation. The room was buzzing with excitement, a palpable energy that hummed like electricity in the air. The executives exchanged impressed looks, nodding appreciatively, and Ethan felt a wave of exhilaration wash over him. "Ethan," Mr. Thompson said, once the chatter began to wind down, "you've brought fresh ideas to the table. I think we have a lot to discuss moving forward." Ethan could hardly find the words. Was this really happening? His vision was not only heard, it had ignited intrigue and interest within the very people he had once imagined as unreachable. As the meeting wrapped, he took a moment to gather himself. The executives began discussing next steps, and in that bustling energy, he caught sight of Clara, still standing near the entrance. She watched with a mix of surprise and something else, regret perhaps, but also a hint of newfound respect. Feeling bold, Ethan approached her. "I appreciate your professionalism," he said, fresh embarrassment mixing with pride. Clara's demeanor softened, her shoulders relaxing. "I'm truly sorry for how I treated you earlier." "It's okay," he replied, a genuine smile forming. As he walked away from their conversation, a fire sparked inside him. This moment had been a roller coaster, an unexpected turn that changed everything. He felt like he was standing on the precipice of something great. Soon after, he received a follow-up email from Mr. Thompson, outlining the next meeting plans, clearly excited about moving forward with Ethan's ideas. For Ethan, this wasn't just a win. It was validation that dreams could turn into reality with perseverance, even when the road seemed blocked. With each passing day, as the project evolved, he found himself collaborating with the talented minds of Helix Corp. His ideas became tangible as they pieced together plans and layouts, infusing life into the sketches he had once only imagined in his mind. Ethan learned valuable lessons each step of the way. He discovered that rejection wasn't a dead end but a fork in the road, an opportunity to find new paths to success. He appreciated the importance of resilience, of standing tall, even when faced with the weight of doubt. Months rolled by, and eventually, Ethan's designs came to life in the city, transforming once empty plots into vibrant spaces that breathed life into the community. People marveled at the innovative architecture and environmental considerations, their eyes sparkling with appreciation. On the grand unveiling day, as he stood in front of the completed building, a wave of pride washed over him. He felt connected to every corner of this creation, a monument to perseverance and vision. Clara was present too, standing by his side, her expression reflecting admiration, pride, and acknowledgement of a journey they both took in different ways. "Congratulations, Ethan," she said, her words genuine. With a heart full of gratitude, he looked around, taking in the joy of the people surrounding him. "Thank you, Clara." From then on, they shared a bond, a connection forged in the fires of early challenges and unexpected turns. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the city and the new building, Ethan realized how far he had come. Sometimes it took the unexpected warmth of a chairman's greeting to open doors that had previously seemed closed. And with every step forward, Ethan understood that the heart of progress lay not just in the ideas we chase, but in the strength to rise again after being turned away. The journey was just beginning, and he was ready to embrace every moment of it. The large doors to Eagle Enterprises stood resolute, gleaming under the bright morning sun. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with purpose. Employees hustled by in tailored suits, clacking heels echoing on the marble floor. In the midst of this vibrant chaos was Jason, a young entrepreneur gripping a folder filled with his dream. Today was supposed to be his big break, a chance to pitch a revolutionary app to a company known for investing in innovative tech. Taking a deep breath, he approached the reception desk where a woman with sharp features and an even sharper demeanor sat, her fingers tapping furiously on a keyboard. Her name tag read Sarah, but to Jason she appeared more like a guard dog than a gatekeeper. "Good morning, I have a meeting with Mr. Carter," Jason said, trying to keep his voice steady, his heart pounding like a drum. Sarah replied without looking up, her expression inscrutable. Jason lay. A cold silence filled the air as Sarah finally glanced up, her brow furrowed. "I don't see your name on the schedule," she said, her tone dismissive. Glimmers of desperation sparked within Jason. I double-checked. Without missing a beat, Sarah shook her head, her eyes returning to the screen. "If your name isn't on the list, I can't allow you to enter." Jason took a step back, feeling the weight of disappointment close in around him. He had envisioned this moment for weeks, replaying it in his mind. Yet here he was, standing at the very door that led to his dreams, and it was closing in his face. He pleaded, desperation lacing his voice. "No, I'm sorry, you need to leave," she insisted, her tone leaving no room for debate. He turned, feeling the crushing weight of failure. As he walked toward the exit, the world around him blurred. He had poured his heart into this project, coming all this way only to be met with indifference. Doubt washed over him. Was he good enough? Did his ideas even matter? Just as he reached the front doors, a voice boomed through the lobby. Jason, it was Mr. Carter, the chairman of Eagle Enterprises, striding confidently toward him. His presence was electric, almost magnetic. In an instant, all of Jason's despair pivoted on this unexpected moment. Mr. Carter exclaimed, a genuine smile lighting up his face. I was just reviewing your proposal. Jason's heart raced, disbelief crashing over him like waves. How did the chairman know his name? His earlier disappointment felt light years away. Come with me, let's get into this, Mr. Carter gestured warmly, leading him away from the reception desk. As they walked into the sleek boardroom, Jason stole glances at the imposing glass walls and sleek furniture, feeling an odd mix of exhilaration and fear. The sunlight poured in, bathing everything in a golden hue. A table surrounded by influential executives awaited, their attention shifting to him, a newcomer in their elite world. Taking a seat, Jason felt every heartbeat pulse through him. The executives began asking questions, their eyes sparkling with intrigue. Mr. Lee, tell us about your vision, one executive prompted. With a deep breath, Jason unfurled his pitch, emotions surging like a tidal wave. He described the app he had designed, an innovative tool that integrated personal organization with wellness goals. Imagine keeping track of your tasks while receiving wellness reminders tailored to your needs, he said, his voice gaining strength with every word. As he spoke, the room came alive, heads nodded, eyes widened in recognition. Jason was no longer a shadow, he was a force, an idea coming to life. The executives leaned in, their interest palpable. Another executive asked. Jason didn't flinch, it focuses on holistic well-being. While other apps track productivity, this one nurtures the user's mental and emotional health as well. The energy in the room shifted, sparking excitement. It was the adrenaline rush of connection, as if everyone in the boardroom was contributing to a single heartbeat of invention. Once we launch, we can disrupt the industry, Jason continued, feeling more confident with every moment. Mr. Carter leaned back, clearly impressed. You have something special here, Jason. As the presentation wrapped up, Jason felt a rush of joy and possibility washing over him. The executives buzzed with questions, strategizing next steps. For Jason, this was his moment of validation, a reminder that sometimes, even in the face of rejection, the universe had a way of turning things around, if only you kept pushing forward. After a lively discussion, as he began to stack his materials neatly, Jason felt a sense of accomplishment swell within him. He couldn't believe he had come so far in a single day. The chairman, his earlier adversary, now seemed like an ally, someone who truly understood the value of a bold idea. As he gathered his things and bid farewell to the executives, his eyes caught the receptionist's gaze once more. Sarah stood there looking a little flustered as she shuffled papers, her sharpened demeanor now softened. He walked over, feeling a wave of empowerment radiate from him. Thank you for the opportunity, Sarah, he said sincerely. Your company has an incredible team. She looked genuinely surprised at his kindness, her earlier sternness fading. I didn't know you were meeting with Mr. Carter, she stammered. It almost didn't, Jason admitted with a knowing smile. Sarah nodded slowly, clearly pondering his words. I wish you the best, she said, warmth creeping into her voice. Walking out the front doors of Eagle Enterprises, Jason felt like he was walking on air. The fear and doubt that had once gripped him were dissipating. He had encountered rejection but found acceptance instead, not just from the chairman but within himself. In the months that followed, Jason worked tirelessly, collaborating with the team at Eagle Enterprises. Ideas flowed, spirits soared, and the app began to take shape. His drive forged new connections and nurtured friendships that blossomed in the corporate labyrinth of creativity. One afternoon, as they gathered for a brainstorming session, Jason felt a wave of gratitude. The initial struggle, the rejection, it had all led him to this moment. His concept was flourishing. They were in the final stages of development, and the company's buzz about the app hinted at a promising future. As the launch day approached, anticipation filled the air. Jason reflected on his journey, how one moment, the refusal by the receptionist, had spiraled into this incredible opportunity. Each step forward had solidified his resolve, made him stronger. On launch day, the room was alive with energy. Light poured in through the expansive windows, illuminating faces filled with expectation and excitement. Jason stood at a podium, ready to reveal the fruit of his hard work to clients, investors, and team members. He began to speak, each word resonating with conviction. Today, we're not just launching an app. As he unveiled the features, the crowd erupted into applause. The atmosphere was electric, laughter and cheers filling the space. It wasn't just Jason's triumph, it was a collective victory, a shared dream brought to life. Afterward, as everyone mingled and celebrated, Jason spotted Sarah among the crowd. She approached him, her expression glowing with pride. I'm so impressed with everything you've achieved, she said. Thank you, Sarah, Jason replied, genuine gratitude filling his words. Your initial denial only made me more determined. Her eyes widened, realization dawning. I've learned that sometimes the path to success isn't straight. They shared a moment of understanding, two people from different sides of a door that had once divided them. As the celebration continued, Jason felt a sense of fullness that was hard to describe. He reflected on how resilience had propelled him past doubt and rejection, guiding him towards success. The chairman approached them, placing a hand on Jason's shoulder. "Congratulations, Jason, this is just the beginning." A smile spread across Jason's face as he glanced towards Sarah. "Thank you, Mr. Carter." "Indeed it did," Mr. Carter replied, visibly pleased. "Remember this moment, Jason." As laughter and cheers enveloped them, Jason realized he had come full circle. From standing outside those glass doors, denied entry, to savoring his victory on a launch day, every step had transformed him. Every rejection now felt like a roadmap guiding him to fulfillment. And so he did. Jason stood nervously outside the glass doors of Iron Tech Innovations, his heart pounding like a drum. The sun glared down at him, reflecting off the immaculate building, casting shimmering shadows across the courtyard. He adjusted his collar, feeling the weight of the folder in his hand. Inside were the details of the revolutionary software solution he had been working on for months. Today was his moment to shine, a chance to present his hard work to one of the most prestigious tech companies in the industry. But as he approached the reception desk, a wave of uncertainty washed over him. A woman named Claire sat behind the desk, her expression stoic, her fingers dancing over the keyboard as she typed with precision. The air around her felt dense with professionalism. "Good morning," Jason began, forcing a smile despite his churning stomach. "I'm here to see Mr. Carter." Without looking up, Claire raised an eyebrow. "Jason Bennett," he replied, the tremor in his voice betraying his confidence. Claire's fingers paused and she glanced up for just a moment. The disinterest in her gaze felt like a blow. "I don't see your name on the list," she said flatly. A sinking feeling enveloped Jason. "I confirmed the appointment yesterday." She shook her head, her focus returning to the screen. "If it's not on the list, I can't let you in." Jason felt the walls close in around him. Panic swelled and he struggled to keep his voice steady. "Please, I really need to speak with him. I've been working on this project for years. If you just give him a chance to hear my pitch." "Sir, I must insist," Claire interjected, her tone firm and unyielding. His chest tightened, heart pounding against his ribs, each denial stung, echoing his insecurities. He glanced around the busy lobby, watching as well-dressed professionals hurried by, their conversations filled with enthusiasm. He felt small and invisible. Was he really about to lose everything he had worked for? "Can I just leave my information? I'm sure he'll want to hear from me." Jason tried again, desperation creeping into his voice. "No, I'm sorry, you need to step aside," she said, her voice sharper now, holding a power that sent Jason reeling. He turned away, paralyzed by the weight of rejection. As he walked back towards the glass doors, he felt like a balloon slowly deflating, hope leaking out with every step. All those late-night work sessions, countless revisions, what had it all been for? Doubt flooded his mind, filling it with whispers of inadequacy. Just as he reached the doors, a commanding voice erupted from the far side of the lobby. Jason, startled, Jason spun around. It was Mr. Carter, the chairman of Iron Tech, striding toward him with an aura of authority. The sharp lines of his suit seemed to cut through the tension in the air. Jason felt a spark of hope reignite. "Mister," he called out, shocked recognition igniting his voice. "I was just going over your project proposal," Mr. Carter said, a broad smile transforming his face. "I'm very interested in what you have to share." With a mix of astonishment and relief, Jason followed, glancing back at Claire, who looked equally surprised. This was a shift, a moment of fate unfolding. The chairman walked with purpose, and Jason scrambled to keep pace, his earlier doubt evaporating into exhilaration. They entered a spacious conference room filled with sleek design and technology. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating a glossy table surrounded by influential executives, all of whom were now looking at him with curiosity. Jason felt a surge of adrenaline pump through him. This was the moment everything could change. "Everyone, this is Jason Bennett," Mr. Carter announced, his voice echoing with energy. The warmth in his demeanor instantly transformed the air, electrifying the atmosphere in the room. Jason stepped forward, his nerves transforming into determination as he clutched the folder tightly. He could feel the weight of attentive eyes on him, but this time it didn't feel suffocating. It felt like an opportunity, a chance to share his vision. "Thank you for the opportunity," Jason began, his voice gaining strength as he stood at the front of the room. As he delved into his pitch, passion coursed through him. He highlighted the app's unique features, its ability to tailor workflow processes based on user habits, prioritize mental health breaks, and foster collaboration within teams. With each point, the room responded. Nods of understanding and murmurs of interest shifted the dynamic. "Imagine a workplace where productivity doesn't compromise well-being," Jason articulated, painting a vivid picture. A platform that not only tracks tasks but also supports the human element involved in work. He noticed Mr. Carter leaning in with interest, a thoughtful expression on his face. Other executives began jotting down notes, engaged and eager for more information. One executive interjected, a hint of skepticism in his voice. Jason took a breath, feeling the pressure mount. Our approach focuses on personalization and emotional intelligence, which many competitors overlook. Excitement flickered in the room as Jason answered questions, showcasing his in-depth understanding of the industry. The dialogue flowed organically. He felt like a part of something larger, a discussion igniting innovation and possibilities. The bond formed in those moments was electric. He shared stories of user testing, real success chapters from pilot programs, experiences that resonated with everyone in the room. The groundwork for camaraderie was laid, revealing a path beyond business. Finally, as he wrapped up his presentation, the room erupted in conversation. Executives leaned toward one another, their voices creating a dynamic buzz that enveloped Jason like a warm hug. His heart raced with exhilaration. This was validation proof that vulnerability could blossom into something extraordinary. Mr. Carter said, clapping Jason's shoulder with genuine pride. In that moment of affirmation, Jason realized how far he had come. The earlier rejection felt like a distant memory, a shadow overshadowed by opportunity and connection. How many more people had faced similar moments? How many others felt small before giants? As the meeting concluded and the discussion shifted to next steps, Jason packed his materials, a smile on his face. The atmosphere remained charged, hopeful. Before leaving, he caught sight of Claire standing off to the side, her expression softened, watching him with newfound respect. This was the same woman who only moments ago had denied him entry. Now she was witnessing his breakthrough. Feeling bold, Jason approached her, taking a moment to gather his thoughts. "Thanks for everything, Claire." Surprise flickered in her eyes. "I honestly didn't think you'd get in." Jason chuckled softly, the earlier tension evaporating. "That makes two of us." "Thank you for doing your job." She smiled and the connection felt genuine, a bridge formed through understanding and shared experience. "Good luck, Jason." The sincerity in her voice ignited something within him. "You will." As he exited IronTech Innovations, the sun warmed his skin and he took a deep breath, feeling the weight of possibility lift. The whirlwind of emotions from rejection to acceptance felt profound. It reminded him that dreams often dwell in unexpected places in moments that seem discouraging or even devastating. In the days that followed, Jason found himself immersed in preparation for the next phases of development. The chairman's faith spurred him on, fueling his motivation. He coupled his passion with strategic insights, rallying a team that shared his vision. During collaborative meetings, his concepts began to solidify. He leaned on the strengths of his team, harnessing the diverse talents around him. Together, they molded this idea into something tangible, an app that could redefine how people worked and lived. Then came the challenge of testing. The team gathered feedback, iterating on their design, driven by a shared commitment to excellence. Jason thrived in this environment of creativity, responsiveness, and collaboration. One evening, after a long day of brainstorming, the team gathered at a local cafe to celebrate their hard work. Laughter filled the air as they shared ideas, debating features and inspired visions. "You know, it's incredible how far we've come," Jason remarked, raising his glass. Heads nodded, smiles spread wide. They shared stories of their own struggles, acknowledging how different moments of rejection shaped them, toughened their resolve. "Sometimes those closed doors lead to even better openings," one teammate said, his voice thick with conviction. As the weeks rolled on, the app neared its launch date. Excitement simmered in the air, building to a climax. Jason's journey had transformed him, not just into a developer but into a leader, a voice capable of rallying others around a cause. On launch day, the atmosphere buzzed with intensity. Dressed sharply, Jason felt a rush of confidence as he stood before a crowd of potential investors and clients. Each familiar face from the boardroom was in attendance, including Mr. Carter, who watched with a sense of pride. "This app represents not just technology, but a movement toward a healthier work culture," Jason began, an electric cadence in his voice. Cheers erupted as he unveiled the features, demonstrating with clarity the profound impact the software could make. He felt the energy in the room, the respect swirling around him like a melody, feeding his spirit. Every pitch, every excited conversation reflected not just his hard work, but the collective effort of a dedicated team. They had turned uncertainty into achievement, sculpted dreams into reality. As the launch wrapped, applause filled the room. Jason stood humbled amidst applause, feeling immense gratitude for the journey, the rejection, the breakthrough, the partnerships forged. As he mingled afterward, he spotted Claire across the crowd. She approached him, a look of genuine admiration in her eyes. "You did it, Jason." "Thanks, Claire. I appreciate your support during those first moments," he admitted. Her smile widened as she reflected on the full circle. Jason raised his glass toward her, eyes twinkling, to cold receptions and warm greetings. The two shared a laugh, the air crackling with possibilities. Rejection had once felt isolating, but now it transformed into shared understanding, a bridge connecting their experiences through resilience. As they stood amidst the celebrations, Jason reflected on the powerful journey. Life often had a way of teaching, reminding us that within the challenges lay the seeds of opportunity. The applause, the recognition, all felt surreal in those vibrate moments. Jason understood he had not only triumphed personally, he had become a part of a larger narrative shared with others, every hurdle faced reflecting a deeper understanding of perseverance. And as the evening wore on, laughter and celebration punctuating the milestones achieved, he smiled at the knowledge that every closed door had set the stage for his arrival. A leap from rejection to acceptance, an everyday miracle fueled by belief, tenacity, and human connection. The bustling city was alive with the hum of ambition and dreams, but at the entrance of Pinnacle Technologies, the air felt heavy, charged with anticipation. Inside, marble floors gleamed under bright lights, reflecting the confidence of the employees who strode purposefully from one meeting to the next. Among them stood Alex, clutching a leather portfolio filled with his aspirations, a life-changing app that could revolutionize personal finance. Today was supposed to be his moment. But as he approached the reception desk, he suddenly felt very small. A woman named Lisa sat there, the epitome of corporate composure, her eyes scanning over papers with a professional detachment. You could almost feel the barrier between them, a wall of indifference that made him hesitate. "Good morning," Alex said, forcing a smile. "I have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Alex Thompson," he said, his heart racing in his chest. Lisa's fingers paused, and she scrolled through her document. For a moment, everything slowed down. The surrounding buzz faded into the background until it was just him and the gaze of the woman behind the desk. Confusion swept over Alex. "I'm certain I confirmed the appointment yesterday." With a cool demeanor, she shook her head. "If you're not on the list, you can't enter." Panic surged through him. He could feel the weight of rejection pressing down. The very place he envisioned as a launch pad for his dreams had turned into a fortress. "Look, I've put so much work into this. Without an appointment, I can't assist you," she replied, her words clipped, dismissive. As he turned to leave, the disappointment washed over him like a cold wave. Each step felt heavier than the last. He wouldn't give up easily. But in that moment, doubt crept into his mind. Had he overestimated himself? Did his ideas even matter? But just as he reached the front doors, a commanding voice cut through the air. "Alex." Startled, he pivoted around to find Mr. Reynolds, the chairman of Pinnacle Technologies, approaching him with purpose and warmth. The contrast was immediate. Where Lisa had been cold and unyielding, Mr. Reynolds exuded a friendly aura that felt almost magnetic. Alex's heart raced as a wave of gratitude flooded over him. Mr. Reynolds said, a broad smile spreading across his face, "I'm eager to discuss your ideas." For a moment, Alex felt frozen, caught between disbelief and hope. This was the chairman, the decision-maker, the man whose words carried weight. "Absolutely, I've been hearing great things. We need to get you into the conference room," Mr. Reynolds encouraged, leading the way with authority. As they walked through the sleek hallways, Alex struggled to comprehend how quickly his fate had shifted. One moment he was facing rejection, and now he was stepping into a world that felt vibrant and full of potential. The sharp contrast stimulated his adrenaline, washing away the earlier doubts. Entering the conference room, the sun flooded in through high windows, casting light over a large table surrounded by expectant faces. Executives and team members, all sharp-eyed and focused, turned their attention to Alex, their intrigue tangible. "Everyone, this is Alex Thompson," Mr. Reynolds announced with enthusiasm. As Alex took center stage, he felt the weight of their gazes, but also the warmth of possibility. This was not just a presentation, it was a chance to connect, to share something meaningful. Stepping forward, he opened his folder and began to speak. "Thank you for this opportunity. I believe we can change how people manage their finances," he started, the tremor in his voice fading with every word. As he laid out his vision, a wave of confidence surged through him. Imagine an app that not only tracks expenses, but empowers users to invest based on their goals and habits. He noticed heads nodding around the table, eyes narrowing in thought, interest igniting the atmosphere. This felt different. The energy was alive, filled with the potential for collaboration. Alex responded with enthusiasm, revealing data from his pilot tests, demonstrating real user interactions that resonated with the executives. He spoke about user-centered design and the necessity for emotional intelligence in finance tools, finding rhythms in the dialogue that energized the room even more. "Most finance apps feel like calculators," he explained, leaning in. "They lack the connection, the understanding of the individual." With every sentence, the conversation flowed. He could see Mr. Reynolds engaged, nodding, reflecting the curiosity from the table. The executives began sharing their vision for the company and bounced ideas off one another, considering how Alex's proposal aligned with their goals. For the first time, Alex felt like he belonged, not just as a hopeful entrepreneur, but as part of a community committed to shaping the future. They were no longer gatekeepers or corporate titans. They were individuals passionate about making a difference. After he finished his pitch, the room erupted into excited chatter. The discussions that followed were invigorating, filled with ideas and strategic plans. His heart soared as he absorbed the enthusiasm. This was what he had always dreamed of, a partnership born from mutual respect and shared ambition. At At the end of the meeting, Mr. Reynolds turned to Alex, eyes sparkling with excitement. "I'm impressed, Alex. Your ideas have the potential to redefine how we approach personal finance." As Alex walked out of the conference room, he felt lighter, exhilarated, and grateful. He had stepped into that office filled with trepidation and had emerged with a renewed sense of purpose. The journey from rejection to acceptance had been swift yet profound, a reminder of the unpredictable nature of ambition. Just then he spotted Lisa at the reception desk again. This time she looked up as he approached, her expression a mix of surprise and intrigue. "Hi, Lisa," Alex said, feeling a surge of confidence. She replied, leaning slightly forward. "I got to present my app to Mr. Reynolds and the team. They loved it." Her eyes widened, and for the first time, Alex saw genuine interest reflected in her expression. "That's incredible. I'm sorry I couldn't help you earlier. I didn't realize." "Thank you. Sometimes the path is unexpected, but it led me to my dream," he replied, a grin crossing his face. As he stepped out of Pinnacle Technologies into the bustling city filled with promise, a profound sense of clarity washed over him. His experience had transformed into something he could share with others, the importance of resilience and the power of connection. Rejection didn't have to be the end, it could be an awakening that drove you forward. Weeks passed, and Alex found himself entrenched in the development of the app. Working closely with passionate individuals at Pinnacle, he felt invigorated. Each brainstorming session became a collaboration of ideas, problems solved, and creativity unleashed. Alex thrived in this environment. His vision had become a community effort. He recalled a moment in one discussion when a team member challenged him about the app's marketing strategy. They pushed for a clear plan, one that aligned with the company's vision. Rather than feeling defensive, Alex embraced the feedback. It was a moment of growth and experience that deepened the project's roots. "Our app isn't just software," he explained during a lighthearted meeting. "It's a tool for empowerment. We need to connect emotionally with our users. We're not selling just an app, we're selling hope and understanding." Their discussions took form, shaping into real marketing strategies that resonated with people. They talked about building a community around financial wellness and education, ensuring users felt valued every step of the way. Months later, the app was ready for launch. They gathered in the same conference room where it all began, a palpable excitement filling the air. Some unfamiliar faces joined the marketing team, potential partners and investors. The room was alive, charged with energy. Alex stood in front of the group again, nerves dancing in his stomach, but this time with a sense of belonging. "Thank you all for being here." As he unveiled the app, claps and cheers erupted around him. The joyous atmosphere served not only as recognition of his hard work, but as validation of a collective mission. People were invested, not just in a product, but in an idea that could transform lives. After the presentation, conversations erupted. You could feel the connection in the air as people began exchanging ideas, brainstorming how to reach users effectively. It was not just a launch, it became a celebration of community, shared vision, and unity. Alex moved through the crowd, relishing the moment. As he spotted Mr. Reynolds talking to a couple of investors, he approached him, excitement bubbling over. "Thank you for believing in me when things looked bleak, Mr. Reynolds." The chairman beamed, pride in his eyes. "You took a chance, Alex. That's what makes a great entrepreneur." As the event wound down and the joyous chatter filled the room, Alex couldn't help but reflect on how far he had come. From being turned away at the reception desk to standing among his peers, celebrating the launch of his dream project. Every step had shaped him. Every rejection had turned into an opportunity for growth. He looked back at Lisa, who was chatting with a new colleague, a smile illuminating her face. The initial distance had dissolved into mutual respect. They were all part of something bigger. In that moment of triumph, Alex realized a simple, profound truth. Life was filled with unpredictable turns, but every single moment, every closed door had led him to this new chapter. From denial to acceptance, from isolation to community, he understood that vulnerability was a source of strength, not weakness. The night sky darkened outside the windows, but the light within reminded him of the journey still to come. He could see the bright future unfolding before him, one filled with possibility, connection, and the belief that dreams were always within reach, even when they seemed like distant stars. And this was just the beginning. The tall glass doors of Silvertech Incorporated reflected the skyline, a fortress of ambition standing against the backdrop of a bustling city. Michael stood outside, his heart racing as he glanced at the clock. This was his moment, his chance to pitch an app that he believed could change the world of education. The concept had consumed him for months, a dream brought to life through countless late nights and revisions. But as he took a deep breath and stepped inside, the anxiety washed over him. The reception area buzzed with energy. Professionals in polished suits moved through like busy bees, each one focused on their own mission. Yet at the reception desk, a woman named Rachel sat with an air of authority, her fingers dancing over the keyboard with an intensity that felt intimidating. "Good morning," Michael said, forcing a smile. "I'm here for my appointment with Mr. Michael Clark," he said, trying to keep his voice steady, but the tremor he felt inside was hard to mask. Rachel finally glanced up, her eyes narrowing slightly. His heart sank. "I confirmed yesterday." "Unless your name is on the list, I can't let you in," she replied flatly. There was no room for negotiation in her tone. "Please, I really need to meet with him. I believe in this project," he pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. Rachel shook her head, her resolve unwavering. "Without an appointment, I can't help you." Each word felt like a heavy door slamming shut on his hopes. He took a step back, the weight of disappointment crashing down. All those dreams, all that hard work, it was as if they were slipping through his fingers. Doubt clawed at him. Was he really cut out for this? As he considered turning back, ready to flee into the crowded streets outside, a voice echoed from across the lobby. Michael, startled, Michael turned to see Mr. Jenkins himself, the chairman of Silvertech, striding toward him with an infectious warmth. The aura he emanated seemed to cut through the cold barriers Rachel had erected. Suddenly, everything felt alive again. "Mr. Michael called, all the fog of uncertainty lifting in an instant. "I've been hearing great things about your app. Let's talk about it," Mr. Jenkins said, flashing a wide smile that instantly eased Michael's tension. Rachel's expression shifted, realization dawning on her face as she observed the interaction. The unsmiling receptionist suddenly looked less like a gatekeeper and more like a bystander witnessing a moment of destiny unfold. "Come with me," Mr. Jenkins urged, gesturing for Michael to follow him into the bright, bustling heart of the company. As they walked through the sleek hallways, Michael's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. One moment he was facing rejection, the next he was walking alongside the very person who held the keys to his future. They entered a conference room filled with executives seated around a long table. Michael felt the air grow thick with anticipation as he took a seat, the buzz of conversation dying down as they redirected their attention to him. It was now or never. "Everyone meet Michael Clark," Mr. Jenkins announced. Michael took a deep breath, the validation surging through him like electricity. "Thank you for the opportunity," he began. As he launched into his pitch, the nervousness melted away. With every word, passion fueled his voice. He described how his app used AI to tailor learning experiences for students, catering to their unique needs and interests. "Imagine a platform where students don't just learn at their own pace, but truly enjoy the process." He could see their eyes widening. Questions began to rise from the table. One executive asked, eyebrows furrowed in thought. "Great question," Michael replied, feeling the energy shift in his favor. Another executive leaned in, excitement sparking. "The app incorporates gamification techniques to keep students motivated," Michael explained, hitting every point with clarity and determination. As he spoke, he felt the energy in the room transform. The executives were no longer just a panel of judges. They were participants in a shared vision, and he was the catalyst. Discussions erupted around the table, with ideas bouncing back and forth, their enthusiasm igniting the atmosphere. Michael returned to his presentation, confident now, excited to share videos of pilot tests that showcased the app in action. The room fell silent, all eyes glued to the screen as students interacted joyfully with the app. Murmurs of appreciation rippled through the crowd, and Michael couldn't help but smile. This was what he had worked for, and it was finally coming to life. After some intense back-and-forth discussions, the meeting wrapped up. Mr. Jenkins turned to Michael, his eyes sparkling with approval. "You've got something here, Michael. I see a lot of potential." Bounding out of the conference room, adrenaline coursed through him. He had done it. He had taken a leap of faith, faced rejection, and had come out on the other side unfazed. The exhilaration was intoxicating. As he stepped into the lobby again, he caught sight of Rachel's face, now transformed by curiosity. She watched him with a mix of admiration and surprise. He approached her, a hopeful smile on his face. "Hi, Rachel. Just wanted to say thanks for doing your job." For the first time, a hint of warmth crossed her features. "I wish I had known, Michael. I'm sorry for how it turned out at first. I appreciate that. Sometimes roadblocks lead to the best opportunities," he replied, feeling a camaraderie forming. Michael walked out of Silvertech, sunlight bathing him as joy filled his heart. The doubt that had once crowded his mind was gone, replaced by a potent sense of possibility. He had navigated the storm, and now the horizon looked bright. In the following weeks, collaboration flourished between Michael and the team at Silvertech. Together, they strategized, experimented, and enhanced the app, blending creative ideas into a unified vision. Michael found himself thriving within this supportive environment. One afternoon, as they reviewed the final development stages, he had a vivid flashback to the cold reception he had initially faced. He smiled at the irony. Not only had he secured support from the chairman, but he had also forged relationships that inspired growth. During a midday break, he and a team member, Sarah, chatted about their experiences in the tech industry. "You know, it's funny," he mused, "that initial rejection became the fire I needed." Sarah nodded, a knowing glint in her eyes. "It's easy to forget, but every setback has a purpose." The conversation left an imprint on Michael, reinforcing something he had come to realize, that the struggles often shape you more than the successes do. It was a lesson in grit, the bittersweet nature of ambition. The day of the app launch approached, electrifying the team's energy. They worked late into the night, fueled by a shared purpose and a collective dream. Michael remembered the days spent brainstorming, molding ideas, but this was different. It was a realization of hard work, hope, and community. On launch day, the atmosphere in the office was buzzing. Every team member was present, each radiating excitement and tension. As Michael prepared for his presentation, he took a moment to absorb all that had happened since he first walked through those glass doors. Michael took center stage at the event, looking out at a crowd filled with stakeholders, educators, and friends. The thrill of the moment enveloped him. Thank you all for being here today. As he detailed how the app would empower educators and inspire students, energy coursed through the room. Tales of growth, innovation, and passion filled the air, and soon applause erupted. The surge of excitement felt electric, binding everyone together in shared hope. After the presentation, conversations flourished. Educators explained what they were looking for in modern tools, sharing insights that encouraged Michael to think bigger. As he moved through the crowd, a familiar face appeared. Mr. Jenkins joined him, eyes beaming with pride. You truly delivered, Michael. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Your support has been invaluable. I couldn't have imagined this day without it, Michael replied, genuine gratitude shining in his words. He glanced back at Rachel, who was mingling, now comfortable and engaged among the guests. The full circle was undeniable. She had once barred his entry, but had also inadvertently sparked the tenacity that led him here. Encouraged, Michael approached her once more. Hi, Rachel. I know our first encounter wasn't ideal, but I want to thank you for your role in pushing me further. Rachel smiled brightly this time, warmth radiating off her. Thank you for saying that, Michael. I'm proud of what you've created. As the evening wore on and laughter mingled with discussions about the future of education, Michael felt a wave of fulfillment wash over him. The journey that had started with rejection felt like a celebration of resilience, community, and relentless pursuit. He had transformed that moment of denial into something powerful, something that would ripple out and make a difference. As he watched the crowd gather around, eager to discuss ideas and futures, he realized that this was more than a launch. It was a moment of victory over doubt, a testament to persistence and hope. It was then he understood that every door closed was a nudge to find the right one. Every setback could lead to greater opportunities, and every struggle held the potential for growth. And so, under the flickering lights and shared hopes, Michael embarked on a new chapter, a journey not only of innovation but of deeper connections and understanding. This was his moment, and he was ready to embrace it. The glass doors of Highland Enterprises loomed ahead, reflecting the sun's bright glare. Jake stood on the threshold, clutching a portfolio filled with his dreams and hard work. He had spent countless hours designing his app, a platform that could reshape the landscape of personal finance for young adults. Today was supposed to be his moment to shine, but doubt clawed at him. He stepped inside, the cool air hitting him like a wave. The reception area was filled with bustling professionals, each one moving with purpose. But behind the reception desk, a woman named Linda sat, perfectly composed, her eyes scanning through screens with laser focus. Good morning, Jake said, forcing a smile as he approached. I'm here for my meeting with Mr. Without so much as a pause, Linda glanced up briefly. She demanded. Jake Anderson, he replied, his voice steady but his heart fluttering. Her fingers continued to dance over the keyboard. I don't see your name on the schedule, she said, her tone flat and dismissive. His heart sank. I confirmed the appointment yesterday. There must be a mistake, he urged, desperation creeping into his voice. Unless your name is on the list, I can't let you in. Company policy, Linda stated, her glare icy and unyielding. The world around him faded into a blur. A chilling realization settled in his chest. He had come all this way, pouring his soul into this project, only to be met with a wall. Please, can I at least leave my information? I'm sorry, if it's not on my list, I can't accommodate you. Please step aside, she said, her voice cold. Defeated, Jake turned to go, feeling the weight of disappointment pressing down like a lead blanket. The strides he had taken toward achieving his dreams felt crushed beneath the reality of this moment. Each step away from the reception area felt heavier, suffocating him with self-doubt. Just as he reached the exit, a booming voice called out from the far side of the lobby. Jake, startled, Jake turned sharply. There stood Mr. Thompson, the chairman, a man known for his charisma and vision, striding toward him with a warm smile that seemed to cut through the tension. Mr. Jake exclaimed, feeling a spark of hope ignite in his chest. Mr. Thompson said, his enthusiasm infectious. Jake felt a rush of relief and disbelief at how quickly things had shifted. Of course, as they walked together, Jake glanced back at Linda, whose expression was now a mix of surprise and confusion. The moment felt surreal as he moved from rejection to acceptance, guided by someone who believed in him. They entered a spacious conference room filled with sleek furniture and a wall of glass that offered a panoramic view of the city. The atmosphere buzzed with collective energy as several executives turned their heads to greet him. Each face radiated curiosity and interest, the tension in the air morphing into excitement. Everyone, this is Jake Anderson, Mr. Thompson announced, his voice booming. Jake took a deep breath, feeling exhilarated by the warmth in the room. He began his pitch, explaining the app's features and how it could help young adults manage their money effectively. This app uses AI to personalize financial advice, making it accessible and fun, he said, his voice gaining confidence with every word. As he spoke, the executives leaned in closer, their interest palpable. Jake painted a picture of empowered users, young adults who wouldn't dread checking their bank accounts but would eagerly engage with their financial goals. One executive probed. Jake said, his pulse quickening. Most finance apps only track expenses, but ours focuses on financial literacy, gamifying the experience to keep users engaged. He shared stories from his user testing, recounting how young people responded with enthusiasm, saying they finally felt in control of their finances. The room started buzzing with excitement, conversations sparking among the executives about how to integrate the app with their existing services. Jake reveled in the moment, feeling a connection form with each person in the room. This was not just a pitch, it was a dialogue, a collaboration of ideas sparking into life. After he finished presenting, applause erupted. Mr. Thompson smiled broadly, visibly impressed. "Amazing job, Jake. I truly see the potential here," he said. Leaving the conference room, Jake felt a surge of exhilaration. It was more than he had ever hoped for. Every ounce of effort, each late night spent coding and perfecting, had led him to this moment. As he exited the building, he caught sight of Linda once more. This time she was watching him with a hint of curiosity. He approached her, feeling a surge of confidence. "Hi, Linda," Jake began. "I wanted to say thank you for doing your job." She looked taken aback but quickly collected herself. "I didn't realize. I'm really glad it worked out for you," she said, her tone softening. "It's incredible how a rough start can lead to something amazing," he replied, offering a genuine smile. With the sun setting behind the skyline, Jake stepped outside, warmth flooding his body. The earlier disappointment felt like a distant memory, overshadowed by the thrill of what lay ahead. This moment, the shift from rejection to recognition, had transformed him. Weeks rolled into months, and Jake found himself deeply immersed in the process of refining his app alongside the dedicated team at Highland Enterprises. The camaraderie was unlike anything he had experienced before, a community of passionate individuals working toward a shared goal. The team gathered regularly in creative sessions, brainstorming features and enhancements. He thrived on their collective energy, each member bringing unique insights that enriched the project. During one late-night session filled with laughter and coffee-fueled determination, Jake looked around, feeling the power of collaboration envelop him. "It's not just about the app anymore," he said, adding a layer of energy to the atmosphere. One of his teammates, Sarah, chimed in with a grin. "Exactly." As they pushed forward, a real sense of purpose emerged from their discussions. Their passion fueled a commitment to clarity, accessibility, and joy in managing finances. They envisioned a world where financial literacy was no longer an uphill battle. Then came the big day. The app was finally ready for launch, and the entire team stood on the precipice of their accomplishment. Every late night, every bit of stress had culminated in this moment. The anticipation crackled in the air as they gathered in the main conference room, excitement bubbling over like a freshly opened can of soda. Dressed in smart attire, Jake felt an electric charge within him as he stood before a packed room of investors, educators, and press. He could hardly believe he had made it, once an aspiring developer, now standing at the forefront of an innovation that held the potential to change lives. "Thank you all for being here today. I'm thrilled to share this project that began as a dream and has now come to life," he began, his voice steady. As he unveiled the app, the crowd leaned forward, eager to see the features he had described in his pitch. The screen showcased vibrant graphics, seamless interfaces, and testimonials from users who felt empowered for the first time to manage their finances. As the visuals swept through the room, tangible excitement stirred among the audience. After concluding his presentation, a thunderous round of applause erupted. Jake felt like he was floating. This was the culmination of everything he had hoped for, and the energy buzzed like fireworks in his veins. Following the presentation, the room turned into a hive of conversation. Educators shared their insights, expressing their enthusiasm for incorporating the app into classrooms. Investors discussed the promising potential for growth. Jake moved among them, each handshake and smile reinforcing his sense of purpose. Then he spotted Mr. Thompson in the crowd. The chairman was chatting animatedly but caught Jake's eye and moved through the throng to meet him. "Jake," Mr. Thompson exclaimed, genuine pride shining in his eyes. "Thank you so much, Mr. Thompson. I can't express how much this means to me," Jake replied, gratitude overflowing within him. As they conversed, Jake reflected on the remarkable journey, the initial chance meeting, the skepticism from the receptionist, the eventual support from the chairman. The path had been winding, filled with twists that led him here, reminding him of the unpredictable nature of ambition. As the evening unfolded, laughter and excitement filled the air. Jake took a moment to step back, absorbing everything: celebration, connection, and hope. They were not just celebrating an app, they were celebrating resilience, community, and the belief that change was possible. He looked around at the faces in the room, from the executives to his teammates, and felt an immense gratitude. He realized each person was part of a larger narrative, contributing their strengths and passion to create something meaningful. In a quiet corner, he saw Linda once again, this time engaged in conversation with fellow team members. The initial wall had crumbled, and now she was part of the celebration too. Jake approached her with a smile. "Hey, Linda," she turned, her expression brightening. "It's fantastic, Jake. Thank you for being a part of this journey." As they shared their moment, Jake felt the weight of the past dissolve. The initial rejection had transformed into understanding and respect. They were united in this pursuit of innovation, illuminating a common desire to empower others. The celebrations continued late into the night, laughter intertwined with dreams, and the future felt limitless. Jake knew this was only the beginning. He had stepped into a world where possibilities were endless, where perseverance shaped paths, and where every person had the potential to empower change. As he stood among friends and colleagues, celebrating not just an app but a legacy, he reflected on how extraordinary it was to see challenges turn into opportunities. Life, after all, is a journey filled with lessons, the thrill of outreach, and the connection with others. He felt powerful, ready to embrace whatever came next, grounded in the knowledge that every closed door only led him to the right one. The night was alive, and so was his dream, echoing with the promise of what lay ahead. The sun hung high in the sky, sending beams of light cascading through the towering glass walls of Apex Enterprises. Inside, the air buzzed with energy, a hive of activity and ambition. At the center of it all stood a young man named Ethan, gripping a carefully organized portfolio. Today was meant to be his breakthrough, the day he would present his groundbreaking marketing app to potential investors, a product he had poured his heart and soul into for months. As he stepped toward the reception desk, his heart raced with a cocktail of excitement and anxiety. Behind the desk, a woman named Sandy typed furiously, her face a mask of concentration. She looked up as Ethan approached, but her gaze remained cold and detached. "Good morning," he said, his voice steady. "I have a meeting with Ms. Sandy," replied, her tone flat. "Ethan Rivers," he answered, forcing a smile despite the nerves that twisted in his stomach. Sandy's fingers continued to click away at the keyboard. After a long pause, she looked up and shook her head. A wave of dread washed over him. "I confirmed the appointment yesterday." Her expression didn't change. "Unless your name is on the list, I can't let you in." Each word felt like a door slamming in his face. Ethan felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down harder. "Please," he pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. "I really need this meeting. My app can change the way companies approach marketing. Without an appointment, I can't assist you," Sandy interrupted, her tone growing more impatient. Defeated, Ethan stepped back, reeling from the rejection. He had dreamed of this moment, the moment when his hard work would finally pay off. He glanced around the lobby where well-dressed professionals glided by, seemingly oblivious to his despair. He felt small and defeated, the light of his ambitions dimming. As he turned to leave, a booming voice broke through the noise. "Ethan." Startled, Ethan turned, his heart racing. Mr. Richards, the chairman of Apex Enterprises, approached him with a warm smile that instantly rekindled a flicker of hope within him. The stark contrast between Mr. Richards' welcoming presence and the icy indifference of Sandy was striking. "Mr. Ethan," exclaimed, stepping forward, unsure if he should reach out for a handshake or simply stand there in awe. "I've just been reading about your proposal," Mr. Richards said, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I'd love to hear more about your app." Ethan's heart soared, the disappointment quickly fading away. "Really?" Together they walked past Sandy, whose expression shifted from confusion to surprise. As they entered a sleek conference room, Ethan felt a wave of exhilaration wash over him. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, reflecting off the polished table where high-ranking executives sat with looks of curiosity. "Everyone, this is Ethan Rivers," Mr. Richards announced, gesturing toward him. Ethan felt the weight of the moment shift. This was not just an audience, these were decision-makers, influential figures prepared to listen. Taking a deep breath, he opened his portfolio and began to present his vision. "The app uses machine learning to tailor marketing strategies specifically for each brand," he explained, the tremors in his voice replaced by passion. "No more cookie-cutter solutions." As he spoke, the energy in the room began to build. He shared case studies, showcasing how similar strategies had transformed businesses. The room was engaged, eyes alight with interest. Ethan welcomed the questions, each one pulling him deeper into the conversation. Ideas flowed back and forth, creating a palpable tension. The executives were leaning in, clearly intrigued by what he had to offer. He moved confidently through his presentation, highlighting how the app could analyze consumer behavior and preferences, revolutionizing the way companies approach their marketing. Each point he made was met with nods of approval, and for the first time that day, he felt in control. After what felt like both an eternity and a fleeting moment, Ethan concluded his pitch. The room erupted in applause, and Mr. Richards gave him a broad smile. "Outstanding presentation, Ethan. I see a lot of potential here." As Ethan basked in the validation, he felt as if a heavy fog had been lifted. He had come so close to losing everything, only to be rescued by the warm greeting of a man who believed in him. After the meeting, the energy in the air felt electric. Investors and executives approached him, eagerness etched on their faces. "Your concept is exactly what we need to stay ahead in a competitive market," one executive said, shaking Ethan's hand. Ethan replied, amazed by the shift in fortune. Just then he spotted Sandy still at the reception desk. This time she looked at him with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. As he started to walk toward her, he felt an urge to acknowledge her role in this whole experience. "Hey, Sandy," he said, "thank you for your help today." Her expression softened slightly, revealing a flicker of vulnerability. "I really didn't know what I was missing. Your presentation was impressive," she admitted, her tone reflecting a newfound respect. Ethan replied, showing a smile. He turned back to the lobby, his heart light. Today had shifted from rejection to opportunity. That moment of kindness from Mr. Richards had ignited a spark that could change everything. Weeks flew by and Ethan immersed himself in collaboration with the talented team at Apex. The app was being refined daily, and every gathering brimmed with creativity and enthusiasm. They worked tirelessly, fueled by a shared passion for innovation. One evening, they found themselves brainstorming late at the office, the dim lights casting a warm glow over their focused faces. Ethan proposed, his ideas flowing easily. His teammates nodded in agreement, sharing insights and building on his suggestion. The room buzzed with excitement as they sketched out possibilities, blending their expertise with fresh ideas. "This is going to make a real difference," Sarah, one of the developers, said, her eyes shining. In that moment, Ethan felt a profound sense of unity. They weren't just colleagues, they were friends and partners, each contributing to a shared vision. Every late night, every ounce of effort was part of a larger tapestry they were weaving together. But as the launch approached, a shadow loomed. Ethan started to notice underlying tensions among the executive team. Conversations became more pointed, and meeting discussions occasionally veered into disagreements about marketing strategies and target demographics. One afternoon, as he sat in a meeting where the executives clashed over different perspectives, Ethan felt a palpable tension in the room. "I believe we should focus on millennial users. They're eager for innovative solutions," one of the executives said firmly. Another countered. Ethan shifted uncomfortably in his chair, torn between their conflicting views. How could they move forward when they were pulling in different directions? Instead of submitting to frustration, he raised his hand, deciding it was time to share his thoughts. "Perhaps we can create a two-pronged strategy," he suggested cautiously. The room went silent, all eyes on him. It was a risk. He could feel the weight of their expectations on him. "It's audacious to think we can juggle both," one executive replied, skepticism etched across his face. "But the younger audience is the future," Ethan pressed. There was a moment of hesitation, an invisible push and pull in the air. Finally, Mr. Richards leaned forward, nodding slowly. "Ethan may have a point." As the meeting concluded, Ethan's heart raced. He had taken a leap, a bold move that could pivot their strategic direction. But the aftertaste of tension lingered. Would they embrace the idea or cast it aside in favor of their own agendas? In the weeks that followed, excitement morphed into growing uncertainty. The launch date was nearing, yet discussions transformed into power struggles. Executives seemed more focused on asserting dominance than collaborating. Meetings were fraught with tension, and the energy that had once seemed electric now felt heavy. Ethan found solace in his work, focusing on the app and its final touches. But the churning uncertainty lingered like a storm cloud above. On one particularly tense day, he overheard a heated discussion between two top executives as he worked late into the evening. "It's unacceptable. We can't base our future on some half-baked data analysis," one executive shouted, frustration spilling over. "We need to think bigger. This could reshape our entire strategy," the other countered, but the resolve was fraying. Ethan clenched his jaw, the tension engulfing him. Would they sabotage the very vision they had worked to build? Days passed as he grappled with how to influence the decision-makers. Meanwhile, the app was ready to launch, but the growing divide among the executives raised doubts. Finally, the day before the launch, an emergency meeting was scheduled. Ethan sat at the conference table, surrounded by anxious faces. "This launch needs to align with our unified vision," Mr. Richards said, eyeing each executive. Jake's heart raced. He felt an urgency to speak. "We have a strong app and a promising future. The data supports diverse strategies. It's time to unite behind this launch," he declared, meeting the eyes of everyone in the room. Just then, the door swung open and a familiar figure stepped inside Sandy, the receptionist. Her presence caught everyone off guard. "I have something to say," she said, a fire igniting in her eyes. Ethan's jaw dropped. What was she doing here? "I've watched as this app, a brilliant concept, has been overlooked amid internal debates." "Don't let that get in the way of something great," Sandy urged, her voice steady, eyes fierce. "You all have a chance to make real change happen." A stunned silence engulfed the room. Could her words reshape the atmosphere? As the executives exchanged glances, Ethan felt the tides shifting. Was this the pivotal moment they needed? Just then, the boardroom door swung open dramatically, and the tension escalated to a breaking point. The fate of the app and Ethan's dreams hanging precariously in the balance. All eyes were on them, anticipation crackling in the air like static electricity. Would this be a moment of reckoning or fracture? The outcome was uncertain, and everything rested on the decisions that lay ahead. As Ethan's heart pounded, he realized the future hinged on a precipice, threatening to teeter into despair or soar into success. In that charged moment, the path forward hung in uncertainty, the weight of ambition and hope colliding explosively. What would transpire in the next heartbeat? The answer lay tantalizingly close, yet shrouded in the unknown.